Ah, it's good to be outside again. I know street air's not that sweet, but it sure beats the neurotoxins we were nearly inhaling. Again, I'm sorry for the mishap in my workshop. I hope I can make it up to you by showing you the area. Since you're from New Angeles, I'm sure there's plenty that we can see that will be novel. So, take my hand, and I'll give you a tour. The Luminaire Gardens is only a few blocks away. I just love the city at night. You laugh? Because it's mostly night with all the storm weather. Yes, that's true. But it's the colors. The neon rainbow of pinks, purples, blues, and reds. It's like a tapestry, isn't it? If I wasn't an artist of hardware and cybernetics, I'd probably be an artist of another type. It's kind of obvious, isn't it? But you, the hard life is all that you've ever known? By hard, I suppose you mean being how do I put it, agent for hire? I understand. Not many people in Neo-Tokyo would say they live the kind of life you see in the old history videos. The days of nuclear families and living in relative safety is gone. Now, we have very literal nuclear families. Ones with fusion reactors powering their hearts, if they're lucky enough to have the credits. I hope you don't mind, but I did glance at what's powering your heart. It's not a fusion reactor, but I understand that it's probably a difficult choice, have an implant like that one. Gosh, am I dragging the evening down? I'm sorry. Let's talk about something less heavy. Look up there. You've probably seen it before. The Lightstar Gateway. It's a Class 3 space-time anomaly generator. You can tell that it's about to create a singularity because the lights are igniting on the sides. What lights? I know it's hard to see. Just wait a moment, and you'll see the sequence. There. Wow. Do you see that ship coming through? It's an EX-9 Bellestrade. They're one of the biggest battle cruisers in the entire Armada. They're manufactured by Starbound Dynamics, powered by triple zero-point reactors from Nova Caliber, each one capable of generating enough power for short interstellar jumps, so they're not entirely reliant on the gates. Its hull is reinforced with vibrosteel alloy from Metalmorph Industries. I hear it can withstand extreme conditions, from asteroid fields to the harsh edges of black holes. They're usually stationed at the outer colonies or patrolling the far reaches of the solar system. To have one this close to Earth, it must be a special occasion, or a sign of something big happening. Yes, I know a lot about space engineering. It's more of a hobby. Cybernetics has been my real bread and butter. But I've always had an eye towards the heavens. The Lightstar Gate is always there, so high above us, bringing in fleets of ships and sending them back out again. I couldn't escape it, even if I wanted to. I'm tearing up. No, I'm not. You're seeing things. You'll play it back on your optics to prove it? Don't be like that. Okay, if you really must know. My mother and father used to work on the Lightstar Gate together. My mom was the lead engineer on the project. She had an incredible talent for quantum engineering and spatial mechanics. Her work was pivotal in designing the structural integrity of the gate, ensuring that it could withstand the stresses of creating and maintaining stable wormhole passages. Dad's role was on the administrative and coordination side, but he was just as essential. He oversaw the construction crews and managed the resources needed for such a colossal project. He was the one who made sure all the different teams and tech components came together seamlessly. His knack for logistics and planning kept the construction on schedule and within budget. My parents' work was vital to the recent success of space colonies, because before the gates were here, interstellar travel took too long, and the solar system is mostly owned by corporations. The new colonies give the little people a chance to own a piece of something that can be their own. But that, of course, comes at its own price. You probably know that's sometimes overshadowed by the memory of the wormhole Kaiju disasters. When the first portals brought giant monsters from the other dimension, it was important to both my parents to stabilize the singularities, so we didn't have a repeat of the first two attacks. I don't tell most people about my family because they still don't trust the Lightstar Gate, not after what happened. But it's been almost 20 years without an incident. That means my parents did something good, right? Please don't tell anyone else. Pretty much only you and a few close friends of mine know this. It haunted me as a child, and I guess I've never really shaken it off. Thank you for understanding. There I go again, telling you way too much about me. I must sound like a broken record by now. You like knowing things about me? Well, that's very sweet of you. I'm not sure how I feel. Most people don't like getting too close to others quite so fast. I guess it makes them uncomfortable. Because if you put yourself all out there, it makes them more likely to do the same. And not everybody can handle being their true selves all the time. But I feel like I can be real myself around you. Thank you for that. Most people tend to run or hide when I get this way, or spill their darkest secrets without meaning to. And I've noticed that people can be awfully weird, and they're not always who they seem to be. But that's okay. We're all a little weird in some way, aren't we? Yes, I suppose I am a geek, a workaholic, and a philosopher. Guilty on all charges. That is so true. Sometimes I forget it. I get lost in the grind. The grind feels like home. It makes the past endurable. I've said so much. Tell me something about you. What do you mean there's not much to tell? I don't believe that. But that's okay. I'm not pressuring you. I'm happy with just your company. And you've already told me some of the things that you do as an agent. Since I operate on clients in the same line of work, I have a pretty good idea of what your day-to-day looks like. This is Neo-Tokyo, after all. We're all wayward souls in some way. Look over there. That's the district's hyperloop vector for this area. Did you know that it uses ISO levitation tracks, making the trains zip through the city like electric phantoms? Super efficient and almost silent, except for that soft hum as they pass by. Not everyone can afford to use hover cars, and sometimes it's even convenient for the wealthy. You've used it. In the passenger class, you'll mostly find chrome hunters, data drifters, dreg runners, and neon nomads. I rode in first class a few times as a child. It was sleek and as expensive as it sounds. Those days are long gone, though. Why do you keep looking over your shoulder? Is something wrong? What do you mean we're being followed? By who? Where? You want me to stop looking around? I guess you're right. That would tip them off. And they might be listening in on us using long-range microphones? Gosh. Well, what are we supposed to do? Act normal? Okay, I'll trust you. I'm a bit worried, though. With you here, with all your formidable implants, I suppose I have some confidence. I'll just pretend that everything is normal then, and hope you have a plan. Yep. Just one Omnitech boot in front of the other, taking slow, not worried breaths. Ah, saved by the bell. Or gardens, in this case. We're finally here. The expression on your face right now. Yes, that's most people's reactions at first. I told you, this park is actually made of the skeletal remains of giant monsters, the kaijus who attacked through the wormholes. Yes, they really were as big as buildings. The biggest one here we called Xanthrax. He was a colossal creature with iridescent scales that could refract light, creating blinding flashes to disorient other monsters. It stood on 4 powerful, muscular limbs, each ending in razor-sharp talons, capable of tearing through the toughest of materials. Its anatomy was a fascinating blend of raw power and evolutionary adaptations, luminescent spines running along its back, capable of emitting high-energy plasma bursts. It could protect itself against most conventional weaponry. Later, it was found that he possessed a multi-chambered superheart, allowing it to pump nutrient-rich blood after eating other monsters with incredible efficiency, fueling its massive frame and rapid regenerative capabilities. Xanthraxes could have destroyed the entire city if he wasn't stopped by the famous mech crew in the proto-juggernaut. It only stood at half the height of Xanthrax, but the crew made the sacrifice of having their brains connected directly into the warframe. It was their quick reactions that allowed them to stab the giant samurai sword through the monster's vulnerable plating. The crew didn't survive, not just because the mech was badly damaged, but the rushed integration of their wetware with the mech. They all died from hyperactive overstimulation of their neocortexes. But they died heroes. That fight took place right here, where we stand. Hard to believe, isn't it? There were smaller monsters than Xanthrax, though not always that much smaller. Most of them died right here in the battle with Earth's armies. You can hardly tell anymore, but it took 2 decades of human and robotic engineering to build this district back up again. And now here comes the real treat, because the night has fully settled in. See that over there? The glowing blue spores, just above the ground. That's life, left from the kaiju blood that spilled from the battle. Don't worry. It's harmless. Now see how Xanthrax's skeleton is lighting up with the same blue glow. It's beautiful, isn't it? I've always found it strange and wondrous that something so magical could have resulted from a day that most remember as a nightmare. You can see all the people here come to watch the phenomena in the evening. Some believe the flora have some kind of spiritual healing powers, though I've looked it up, and nothing in their cellular makeup suggests that. But of course, there's plenty that we don't know about the nature of their origin. That's odd. Is it just me, or is the bioluminescence changing hue? From blue to a kind of pink. I don't understand. They're turning red, a kind of crimson, but it's only happening around you. Why? And that sound, is that the flora? Is it singing, crying out? It's so loud. Do you know what's happening? Why don't you tell me? I've only seen this happen once before, when someone claimed to have been a descendant of the Kaiju monsters. But that wasn't you. So what's happening? People are panicking. You don't want to tell me? Look, it's okay if you've been keeping a secret from me. I don't know how to tell you this. I've been keeping one as well. Those people you saw watching us, I know who they are. And now, I know what it is that they want from you.